Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have Sarah here today. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe so we can keep going. I am really, really pleased that you've agreed to join us today, Sarah. I've been trying to find women who found love in their 40s to join us in the show. And are you sure you're not really 22? Because you look like you are. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so thanks for your vulnerability and willingness to kind of share your story to help other women who are in their 40s or younger and, want to have hope it's still possible. You have a really unique story and I'll let you share it.
yeah, definitely the 40s and later, never too late for love. My story is different because the love actually came after a child. I had some unsuccessful relationships, and then after that, I decided to decouple finding someone to co-parent with, decouple that from the romantic aspect. And so I do have a romantic partner now. I'm 50 now, actually, with a 1 year
Cannot
old.
even believe it.
But my
Happy
partner
birthday.
and
I
I
think you
are,
reached out when you were 49, so
oh,
a
yeah,
week ago.
I'm 50 now. Because I had the child last year when I was 49. I'll be
Amazing.
51 this year. But
I want everyone to listen closely to
menopause
what
is definitely
Sarah
starting
just
to take
said.
its toll. I can tell you that.
Wow,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Sarah had her first
we
child at 49.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and we're not ready for marriage or anything. It's funny, we're still taking the romantic aspect at its own slower pace. We're, getting to know each other still, but we're super committed to raising a child together and co-parenting. And that's really forging the bond for us that I
Wow.
think a lot of modern day relationships, it's harder to find that motivation for commitment. It's great being single. Everyone has freedom. It's widely accepted to be single, and a lot of people are happy being single. So I think it's just harder to find that motivation to put in the work, maybe to make a relationship work when being single is pretty easy these days.
Oh, wow. I don't find it easy. But so when you had decided to have your child, so just to understand, is your romantic partner also the father of your child, or did you? Okay,
He
wow.
is.
So how did that come about?
Strangely, the pandemic actually played a large role. I was in my mid 40s before the pandemic, and I was thinking I did want love.
Mhm.
I yearned to find my life partner, but I honestly thought motherhood was a ship that had sailed, and I was content. I had resigned myself that I would not have children. I was okay with that decision.
Hmm.
But then the pandemic hit, and something about it, it just shook my whole world. And something about the world feeling less safe and less uncertain really just kicked, for some reason, I don't know if it was biological or what, kicked my desire to be a mother into overdrive. And
Mhm.
because of that, I doubled down on my efforts to find a partner. I was like, ooh, I've got, I had this certain order set in my head. Like, I've got to find a romantic partner. We're going to get married and then we're going to have children. I thought I had to pursue that order. So I doubled down. I had a couple of relationships. And honestly, I was probably really pushing despite, you know, warning flags. I was ignoring red flags. I was just trying to force something to happen. And
Hmm.
honestly, I was probably putting too much pressure on it. So I spent like 3 years through two relationships trying so hard to make them work, and they didn't, you know. And after that, by that time, I'm like 47 and I'm single. And I just made this decision like, why I really want to be a parent. I'm going to prioritize that. If I'm living my life with intent, this is going to be my primary goal. And I do want a romantic partner, but maybe that'll come secondary. So I'm going to just decouple them. I was working
Wow.
in IT and I was used to projects getting decoupled. So I was like, why can't I apply that principle to my life. I'm decoupling these efforts.
Amazing. I
And
mean, so many
so,
good principles come from tech. We
right?
talk about I work in homeschool, you talk about, like, modular learning, a very tech, concept.
Yeah.
Wow, so Sarah, but, like, how did you get him on board? I mean, maybe you should tell the story in order, I don't know. So,
I don't
it's
know. And it's funny because since then I've learned that this is a concept that's picking up, by the way, and it'd been around for a while, but it was new to me. So in my mind, I'm going to decouple it. It was so funny when I talked to guy friends at the time, a lot of them were like, "Oh, I would love that." And I'm volunteering if you're looking for people. But anyway, back to the pandemic,
Okay, wait,
another
just to
way it helped.
understand, hold on a second.
Oh,
So you
uh-huh.
basically decided that you were going to find someone who was willing to have a child with you.
Yes. Yes. And it's so funny because when I started talking to friends about this, my guy friends were like, "Oh, I'd be willing. I want to have a child, but dating's hard. So I volunteer." But again, going back to the pandemic, so a lot of people left SF at
That's
the time.
amazing. Okay, wait, I just have to say something because
Oh,
this is so relevant to a conversation I just
yeah.
had. I just spoke to a friend of mine who's a neuroscientist, and we were talking about manifesting. And one of the things that he pointed out is that there were just like so many different pieces moving around in my manifesting, like wanting to have children, wanting to have physical intimacy, wanting to have that social validation that comes with a wedding, all of that
Ah,
stuff. And what
yeah.
strikes me about this child thing is it's so clear. I want someone who will have children with me. And so if you go on a dating app or if you go out and tell your friends, you're not saying like I want someone who is kind, loving, enjoys physical touch and adventure and spontaneous. I want someone who is willing to have a kid right now. It's very much simpler, really.
Which, by the way, is much harder as you get to your 40s, I found. I That's another piece of this. I had to broaden my age range because
Okay,
most of
yeah.
the guys I dated, they either already had like older kids, weren't looking for a new family, or weirdly enough, even though they were in their 40s, they still didn't feel ready. Even though they were in their 40s. I'm like, how long are you waiting? Should I silence those beeps? I don't know if you can hear those. Um,
Yeah,
Let me do that real quick. Wait, okay, so I did have to broaden my age range. And the way the pandemic plays in this again, so a bunch of people left SF. One of my friends, because of remote work, one of my friends did that. He left SF to go work remotely back home in Texas. And he was actually starting a new job. And so he was like, "Oh, come visit me before I start my new job. I'm busy." So I did. I went out to Dallas, Texas. During that visit, I was fresh out of a relationship. So, of course, I'm not looking for anything. That's when it strikes. I just happened to meet Rolando, my current partner, who's 35 now. So it's a 15-year age gap. I was just looking for fun. So we had like a fun weekend, and I figured we'd never speak again. We ended up speaking every day after I left. But one of the things that crystallized from our conversations is our strong desire on each of our parts for a family. And I don't know, we decided, well, why not? Because I told him I was my decoupling theory, and he was on board. It was so funny because it happened to be on Father's Day when he had flown out to SF to visit, where he said, "You know what? I want to be the father." And it happened to be Father's Day. I was just like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And I was like, "Am I crazy? This is all happening so fast." And so we took a lot of steps that would have been very fast and to me scarier for a new romantic relationship. But if you're looking at from the lens of, oh, we're putting in action this plan for this shared goal, it wasn't. It all made sense. So he moved
that's
out to
amazing.
California from Texas. We started IVF, and we were just both really
Hmm.
committed to that. He moved in with me, and the IVF worked. So here we are a year later. We've been co-parenting. He's actually the stay-at-home dad, and it's worked out great.
How wonderful. I'm so happy for you, Sarah. And it just takes all the pressure off of getting to know someone and like when you were committing. I mean, it's like everyone it's so funny because people say, like, don't have a child to keep the relationship together, but you completely are just like, "Let's have a relationship to have a child,"
which
and
it
then be very
sounds
clear about our
backwards.
intention.
I know it does sound
Yeah.
backwards, but when you we approached the co-parenting part as getting to know each other, like, what is your moral compass? What are your values? And, just
Mhm.
evaluating someone to be a good fit as a parent. And I saw how he interacted with his family, and I trusted him to be a parent. And then I knew that if we didn't work out, we could live close to each other geographically. We could make arrangements to co-parent, but we didn't necessarily have to share a household, if we didn't want.
Wow.
So we still had that freedom. But honestly, I feel like becoming a mother increased my capacity to love. I have more patience. I feel it gave me the tools to actually be a better romantic partner. And then having to cooperate with him and do all the things it takes to co-parent and just seeing how he treats our child with so much love, it's definitely caused, I mean, love to bloom in my heart more. I'll say that.
Wow. That's amazing. So just in terms of do you mind if I ask you questions about fertility? Like that whole because I,
Okay, yeah,
I have some eggs that I froze when I turned 40 after I got a relationship. And I also,
fantastic.
like I didn't freeze quite enough because couldn't afford it, but my mom helped me. And then I've done IVF twice unsuccessfully. But for my age, I have, like I'm as healthy as you can be. It's like a 10% chance. Did you use eggs that you froze or did you conceive with your own eggs? How did that?
I I use donor eggs because
Okay, amazing.
being 47, the odds of my own, I knew were so low. If I had done it sooner, like closer to 40 even, I think I could have had a much better chance. Um, so yeah, for
Wow.
anyone listening, if I definitely advise freezing eggs younger if you think there may be any interest in the future. I think it's just good to have insurance. And I just didn't think about it when I was younger. And then my other thing for anyone
Maybe at the
listening,
wrong time though, Sarah. Like it didn't really
it
like sometimes
was.
I
It
get
just
so
wasn't
mad
a
at
thing
myself.
then.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I got really mad at myself, but then I watched this podcast and it said that actually freezing eggs only started to hit the mainstream like 10 years ago. Like you couldn't even do it until 10 years ago and then it didn't even really start people didn't really start talking about women doing that until I was already almost 40. So it's not like I
Yeah,
forgot or something. It's like it wasn't a thing because I was watching this episode of New Girl, which was a
yeah.
show that was popular when I was in my 30s, and there's this one episode where the doctor says, "Well, Cece, you better start having kids right away or else you won't be able to." And no one talks about egg freezing.
You
So,
know what? Even when I was around 40, because I was married before and then got divorced, and I was married around 40, and I really wanted a child then. I remember going to see a fertility specialist, and he didn't even mention donor eggs as an option. He's like ran some tests and said, "Oh, basically, your chances of having a child are really slim," and that was it. So at the time, I was just like, kind of like, "Oh, I guess I'm not becoming a mother."
I feel like people are so harsh on women in a way they aren't on men. I went to this because all these IVF clinics, they care a lot about their rates, and no one talks about male infertility and how men, like, a lot of the times it's the male sperm that's the problem. And,
Oh
like, you go to
yeah,
these clinics and they're basically, it's like, well, you have about a 10% chance. So you shouldn't, it's like
yeah. Or
probably
don't
not going
even
to happen
try.
or whatever. Like you have to be realistic. And you're saying, okay, I've already done all this research. I am realistic, I mean, but yeah, wow. So that's amazing. So what made you decide to do a donor egg as opposed to adopt a child? Or,
Just definitely for the highest success rate. I wanted the shortest, easiest path. I'm not a fan of medical procedures, so I was really scared about going through IVF. Actually, until I talked to a friend that, again, due to the pandemic, I probably never would have met this person. Um, but anyway, yeah, they told me about their IVF experience, and they made it sound easy and not scary, but it also helped that he was the male partner in this, so maybe for him it was easy. Maybe I would have gotten a slightly different story if I talked to his female partner. But he removed some of the fear and actually referred me to the clinic they use, which is RMA of Northern California. So when I went to them, talking to them, they made me feel very comfortable. You know, you're very positive about my chances, and they made
Mhm.
me wanna try, and I'm glad I did.
So, I mean, I guess what I mean is why did you wanna go through the actual pregnancy as opposed to adopting a child?
It's funny you ask because I was adopted, and so in my mind, I thought I would always adopt, but when I was researching adoption nowadays, I feel like there are more legal hurdles, and it can take a really long time and
Mhm.
also be very costly on top of it, not that IVF isn't costly. But when I weighed the 2, strangely enough, IVF seemed the easier of the options, so that's the one I went with.
That's amazing. So, was, like, the joy of being pregnant part of it? Or, like,
I
was that
actually
not
loved
so
it.
Yeah.
Not the last trimester, but I'm glad I went through that journey, like, it just felt like this amazing experience. And my body actually bounced back faster than I expected. The delivery itself was not easy. I
Mm,
was in labor for like 3 days. I had to be induced. I wouldn't dilate past 7 centimeters. So I ended up having a C-section. But honestly, it was such a relief when they asked me if I wanted a C-section because up until then, it was pretty miserable. I won't sugarcoat that part. It was
wow.
pretty miserable.
I mean,
But
it's pregnancy. It's tough, but yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, actually, okay. So I have so many questions. So this is so amazing and wonderful, and I'm so happy for you. Like, oh,
thank you.
like it's incredible. And I guess I'm wondering, kind of. So when I went through IVF, it was crazy because I realized there was just so much about my own body that I didn't know. Like even from how a basic period worked, I don't even think I was aware that you could only get pregnant, like, 1 hour a month or something like that. It's just
That's
so
crazy,
crazy.
right?
I mean, I just all this stuff, and so but I guess I never went down this road of thinking about egg donors, so I'm curious, I mean, is there any kind of thing about how, like, being pregnant with a child, even if it's not your own egg, connects to the baby or the biology of that? I would love to hear anything you learned.
One thing that was really helpful with IVF, they force you to have like a counseling session, you know, if you're using a donor egg. And yeah, at first I tried to ignore it. I almost tried to get out of it. I was like, oh, I don't need this. But then it actually helped me because in my mind, I didn't realize going in, I was like, oh, I won't really be the mother. But the counselor was like, you are the mother. You are carrying and delivering this child. You will be the mother. Even, you know, it's just that the egg, it's a donor egg you're using, but you're still the mother. She phrased it better than I am probably. But yeah, I don't think of myself not being my baby's mother, even though, like, I know
You
the
grew
genetic
this flower
material.
inside of you, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, having that life grow inside and breastfeeding and all those things, I don't know. I feel very bonded to my baby.
Oh, how old is the baby's baby?
He's 1 year old. He turned 1 in January. His name is Teo, and he's actually ethnically Chinese. I'm can't speak, ethnically
It's
Korean.
okay. Sorry, what'd
Yeah,
you say?
I'm Korean, but I
Wow,
tried to look for a Korean egg and there weren't any, so I ended up using a Chinese egg.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
uh, this is so is he here? Can we see him?
He's napping right now. I know I really
Okay,
wanted to bring
maybe.
him on. If he wakes up, I'll be able to bring him
Okay.
on. Let me see. I
Oh,
have
okay.
a little photo shoot of the ferry building.
Oh my gosh.
I'm biased, but I think he's a beautiful baby.
He's gorgeous. He's a going. Wow, you must be so happy. Okay. Yeah, so I went through IVF. I went in Greece and I acupuncture the first time I did it, and then I
Oh
did it in
yeah.
Cyprus. and I didn't get acupuncture. And the second time was so rough for me that it was a year ago, and I don't think I've fully recovered. Like,
Oh
I think it's
no.
because I did a lot of I went by myself. I mean, I didn't want anyone to come with me because I was worried about the expectations that people would have impacting me, and Cyprus is a horrible place. Where I went, Turkish Cyprus, it's so underdeveloped and there were stray dogs everywhere, and I'm a very walking person, but I think what got to me the most were the, antibiotics, like, having to
Oh,
take so many antibiotics because I realized, okay, I did the first one, that was antibiotics, and then I also had some dental infections, and then I took more antibiotics, and it just like, I don't know, somehow, like, after that, I just haven't found myself again, really. Like, I don't know, it's just like, there's
it's
this
a
part of me
hard
that's, like,
journey.
really sad. I don't and I can't really, like, move past it.
Um, do you think you want to try again?
I don't know, I guess it's just, like, it's so expensive too, and, like
Yeah, it is.
and I guess after, like I don't know, it's funny 'cause I don't know, it's not funny. It's actually not funny at all, but when I think about it, it's just such a deep well of grief.
It's I think that's one of the biggest barriers, the psychological aspect. Definitely.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I guess I don't know, I guess it's kind of we just have this desire to be a mother is so ancient and primal.
You definitely have to be prepared that the outcome isn't going to be the one you wished for and make peace. And,
Yeah.
for me, that was, I think, my biggest struggle. Like, can I handle if it doesn't work? Because I just remember feeling so crushed, the first time I went to a fertility doctor and they were like, you have no chances. And I already grieved. I grieved, remember grieving
Mm,
being a mother at that time, and I put it to rest and I came to terms. So I was like, am I ready to reopen that wound? And I honestly thought that I would feel so much regret if I didn't try, even, if it did end up not the outcome I wanted.
wow. It feels so cliche to say you're brave, and I also know, people say that I'm brave for doing it, but I know
You
it's just something
are
different than bravery. It's like it's just something to do, kind of. It's something to be done.
like a
And
biological need.
yeah, and I mean, it seems like you're a high performing woman. You have a stay at home dad and you got an egg donor, but I feel like it's just kind of ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of being a mother. And it's
Oh,
just, dating is so for me, it was not what I expected. It was not something that came easy to me, and I think I'm used to, you know, y being strategic and using all these supports like therapy and getting the courage to go on those dating apps and meet different people and take risks, and then, okay, 20 years have gone by, I'm 45, 25, and this didn't happen. Like
it's a
it's so
lot.
wild. It's a difficult thing.
Dating is incredibly hard these days. It is.
Yeah.
The majority of my friends are actually single, both guys and girls.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you said is really wise, like that grieving.
Yeah,
You don't
there is.
always get what you want in life.
It's either going to happen, or it's not. It's either, in my mind, a bit of a fatalist, like it's either meant to be or it's not. And you can either
Mm,
put as much energy into trying to make it happen as you want. But in the end, if it's not going to, it's not going to. And, you have to really
mm,
embrace everything else that's going great. These other parts of you, these other roles you fulfill that are amazing, and you can be a mother indirectly to other people. I don't know if you have siblings. I didn't, so
Oh,
that wasn't a route, but I couldn't be like an aunt. But you could be a mother to friends, kids if you have them, or to you can be part of the village, contribute those that great nurturing in other ways.
absolutely. Wow, I'm getting so emotional right now. But I think
Look
like
how
it's
passionate you are about it, and that's
yeah, I mean
beautiful.
it's so hard to get past this this moment. It's almost like, okay, I am 44 now. Like this is the time that it would have happened. So, and so it's like, and you want to be like, okay, everything is great and my life is so happy. But it's so true. My life is just full of so many friends and I'm so blessed, I have this amazing woman who just showed up in my life right now talking to me on this show, and we're connecting as women and around our hopes and fears and great talking about grieving. It's my life is so rich and I can travel where I want to and and what's difficult is also it's my work is all about children. Everything
Oh,
I do is about giving access to education and helping families with their children, and it's become very hard to be around that.
oh, I think you are meant to be a mother then. You are.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I feel mad at myself, like, "Why can't you get your act together?" You know? Like, like, I just feel like if I had figured out the solution or worked harder, it would have happened or something.
oh no, you can't think that way. I mean, just listening to you, you're putting all of your energy and doing everything you can.
Mm. Wow, so okay. I mean, it's just like you have such a it's strange wanting something, in a way. Like I think that this wanting something, I think it's kind of it feels almost like bad, like you shouldn't want something. You should be grateful for what you have and not want more. That's how I feel sometimes about this. You know what I mean? Like I should be satisfied
I think it's
with
good,
what I
okay
have.
to want and try, but then be prepared to be just satisfied if you don't get more.
Yeah. Wow. So, Sarah, what what are things that you wish more women know? Like when you look around your life and your friends.
I guess the first of all, how amazing and beautiful they are, even if they're in their 40s. Not even if, because they're in their 40s and older. I'm tired of women being like, oh, I'm tired of women diminishing themselves because of age. And I think we're really lucky that we live in a time with amazing role models who are older, like Selma Hayek, J-Lo,
Salma Hayek,
Shakira.
she's so gorgeous.
Yeah. Whenever I don't feel good about myself, I honestly do look at them and I'm like, hey, they're fabulous. Like, I'm gonna dust myself off. Like, I'm great. So let's stop diminishing ourselves. Definitely, it's okay to broaden your horizons, date outside your age range. It's okay, try maybe a guy in his 30s if he's willing, Like, don't impose these limitations on yourself.
I love that. I think that one of the reasons I'm kind of experiencing this release is I don't know if to call it a release. I don't really know what's going on right now. But I think that you said that you let go and you grieved.
I did.
How how did you get there? How did how did you get to that place where you were able to let go and go through that grieving?
I just honestly had to fall apart for a while. I had to say, this is be honest, just look at full in the face and experience the disappointment and the pain. To be honest, that I had had this dream and it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't in the cards for me. and that was okay. But I had to fully experience the pain and honestly, for a short time, fall apart. I was a mess. I cried a
Yeah.
lot. I probably went through the stages of grief, like it's not fair, a stage of anger, and finally you reach acceptance and really just reminding myself what is going well.
It sounds like letting go also opened you up to so many different possibilities that you wouldn't
Oh
have allowed
man,
before because you needed to happen in a certain way.
I started traveling more. I did more things for myself. I was like, well, I don't have to, you know, yeah, it changed my worldview. It did.
I
I
love that.
definitely
Yeah.
started living for myself more.
I love that. I think that you also really highlighted something for me, which is that when I did that, each time I did the IVF, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm so happy because I realized I don't want to be single mom and I'm so relieved. And I think that was kind of a defense mechanism where I didn't allow myself to say, this really sucks. This is not the outcome I wanted, and
Yeah.
to allow myself to be unhappy for a while. It seems like being negative is something that I'm always really critical of in others. Like, don't be negative, be grateful, be optimistic, be happy, and being sad is part of the human experience.
It is. It's a valid emotion.
Mm, mm. You
And you
can
won't
have both. You
fully
can,
appreciate the happiness if you're never sad.
yeah. And I think that's what I'm kind of realizing is you can be absolutely and wholly grateful and also experience sadness. They can coexist. Those
100%.
It's part of being an integral human being.
It is
Yeah.
the human experience.
Yeah, and being sad is different than just going around complaining all the time.
Yeah, it is.
I worry about being a burden to my friends.
Oh, I don't think you should worry about that, you know? If anything, I think that's why women can have closer relationships sometimes than men, because we have the freedom and the space just to talk frankly about these hard feelings.
Hmm. So beautiful, wonderful Sarah. You you are so much love. You are love. Do you like how before you had your partner, I mean, I think women often are finding other ways to support themselves. Who was there supporting you through this grief, and who has been there to support you through hard times in your life? How have you built community if you have?
It's funny, it was hard building community because I lived in Virginia before moving to the Bay Area. And, I mentioned I was married before and I moved to the Bay Area for my husband at the time. And then, he was actually didn't really encourage me to build relationships here. So when we divorced, I didn't really know anyone here. I felt pretty isolated. But I joined a pool league and I made a lot of friends through the pool community, especially with female players because the male players really outnumber the female players in pool. So more of the
Oh.
female players tend to bond together because, just there are fewer of us. And it's kind of like, oh, we stand out and it's us against them a little bit. So, yeah, I developed some strong female friendships through pool. And, they kind of became my family here. Another personal thing about me, my actual family is deceased. I don't have any family. So my friendships were my
Oh,
family. I valued my friendships more than ever then. Yeah, and my
oh.
close friends were along my side the whole time through my decision, to
Hi.
find a partner. Oh,
Co-parent.
oh, what do you think?
Oh
What?
my gosh, it's the star of the show. Thank you.
This is
This
one
is
where
just all I
and
need. Please
Sam.
hand them to me. I want to
Okay,
give
I've
them up.
just woke from a
Hi,
nap.
Marley. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye.
Oh.
He just woke from a
Oh, I
nap.
know he's watching me cry. No, I'm sad.
And he's hungry.
I love you. I love you, darling. Oh, you're so I know, I know. You're making me
Okay.
feel
I love
better,
you.
honey.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye
Oh, that
bye.
was so nice.
That one. He's so cranky when I woke him
I
up.
was like, oh my gosh, why are you handing me to this sobbing lady?
He's funny.
He's very empathetic.
Right, he is. He is.
Oh my gosh, what a darling. I have to come visit you so I can hold him, I
Me
think.
too.
Oh my god, wow. Sarah, oh, yeah, this is like so amazing. Oh my god, wow. Okay. I mean, just to have the love of a child like that, how marvelous. And
He's very loved.
what a sweet man who just brings him right in to say
I know,
hello.
right?
So thoughtful.
It was so funny because he was asking, "Oh, do you think I can bring Teo in?" I was like, "Well, yeah, if he's not napping, bring him in."
Yeah, it was perfect. So you had this like that's the pool community and it just yeah, I feel like I really learned something important here because I always felt like there's something I thought, okay, like when I find my partner, I'll have known I figured it out. Like there's this idea in my head that like something inside of me will be resolved. And I think that I have been longing for a certain resolution. And what I'm learning here talking to you is like that resolution can come through grieving, really,
Oh,
like allowing myself to be whole by allowing myself to experience grief
yes.
and the wholeness of the human experience, which is
Yes.
vast. Mm,
I
to
agree.
integrate these parts. Oh, wow. This is such a powerful conversation. Wow. Oh my God. So I want to hear more about just you as a person. Like, what projects are you working on? Because one thing I really want is, I mean, you're so generous to share yourself with me and with all the women listening today. For sure, stories like yours have been the most resonant with people. Our stories aren't shared a lot, and I want to know what, like, what are you up to? Are there any projects you want us to tell us about that you're working on? Or is there any kind of political cause you wanna get the word about? Absolutely anything, like, this is your marketing channel.
Oh
It's all
gosh.
yours.
Right now, I'm surviving, because
Okay,
I have a
you're
full
being yeah.
job. I have a full-time job, and honestly, it's been very busy at work. I work in healthcare IT, and,
Wow.
since I am the breadwinner now, I loved being on maternity leave. It was the first time in my life not working for that period of time. I took 3 months off work, and I loved just being able to be a mother and a partner, and so
Mhm.
it was hard going back to work. But
Wow.
I really wanted to approach it full force. I really was afraid of the perception that I wouldn't be performing as well at work anymore as a new mother. So I doubled down at work just to be sure to fight any, possibility there was that perception.
Yeah.
So for the past year, I've been working super hard at work. And I don't know, you mentioned the political thing. I would like to get more involved politically, but I don't have anything planned right now. It's just been a trying year, I'd say, with everything going on, changes.
Sarah,
So,
I wanna go circle back to that, though, because you said
hmm
what was your concern about people at work thinking that you were underperforming because you were a new mother? Is that what you
yeah, yeah, I didn't want the perception that, that I wasn't doing my job as well, honestly.
how do you
So,
feel about like, you're feeling that way. Like, if you were your own friend, I mean, isn't it just, like, the most normal thing in the world that someone who just gave birth and delivered a baby might not be performing at the same level as someone who is some bro
I
who's,
know.
I mean,
And
how do you think about, like, that whole point of view?
I don't know, like, if it's just something ingrained in my own perception from how things used to be,
Mm.
or if it's a valid fear these days. And even at my workplace, which is um, they're very pro like work-life balance. And even my my boss has 2 young children at home. So I consider of most bosses, he's probably more understanding than most. And I think there is some flexibility, but I didn't want to take advantage of it or tip the scales to that might in a way that might jeopardize like promotions and that kind of thing.
Mm,
So maybe it was just
yeah.
me erring on the side of caution.
I can totally relate, and I just think it's sad that a new mother would have to worry about those things at all when
That's why I
yeah.
feel very fortunate that Rolando can be a stay-at-home dad because it's great
Mm,
to be able to still see Teo like between meetings and stuff. I feel so fortunate to have that situation.
yeah,
You know,
and I
even
mean,
if
what
he is like screaming sometimes in the background of meetings.
that's like such a wonderful how do you, you talked about you're developing your relationship with each other while you're raising a child. How
Yes.
are you doing that? What
We we have to find the little moments,
mm,
because for one thing, we've never had a babysitter yet. And then, you know, with me not having family here and with
mm,
Rolando's family being in Texas, we don't have much of a support system to help take care, I don't know, to help, I guess, if we need a break or anything. We don't have any babysitters here and we don't have family to help. We have
yeah,
gone to Texas, you know, to spend time. We spent a month there this summer, which is great. So Orlando's family could see Teo, and we got a little bit of a break there. But here, because we're always with Teo pretty much, unless he's napping or he goes to bed. Those naps and his bedtime are our small chances to reconnect, and we really try to make the most of it. You know, like
mm.
we might have a couple hours during the week, maybe 4 on the weekend after Teo goes to bed, and we really try and make a date night on the weekend of it. You know, we'll order Uber Eats and watch a movie together and just try to chat and reconnect in these really small ways, but they're potent. They're potent moments.
And I think what matters is that both of you want that. You wanna develop it
Yes.
and explore it.
Yes.
It's so
Thank
key
you.
when both people are engaged in that instead of one person pushing for it.
Yeah. And just letting it sort of unfold at its own pace has been nice.
I will Sarah, you've been so lovely with me, and so I will give you also a tip, which is that ever since I was in my 20s, I've always offered my friends with children to babysit for free,
Oh,
and most people feel really uncomfortable with it, and I've had 2 friends take me up on it, and it's been just such a joy and delight for me, just such a gift, and I was so grateful that they would receive it, and I really think, having grandparents around is the best, but we have an opportunity to reshape the culture in a way that you know, I just tell my single friends, like, please offer to watch your friends' kids or just go over, bring a bottle of wine or whatever, if you're trying to stop
oh
drinking, don't.
yes.
But, like, I think that, just say, hey, let me, you have a date night, let me watch your kid. And then that's a really nice thing that you could do for your friend as well.
100%. That is amazing. I really wish that would take off,
Yeah.
and I'm
Maybe
definitely
your friend,
willing to
your single friends
volunteer.
who are watching this
I
episode,
know, right? Like,
please
who
give Sarah a date night because it's so awesome. It's gonna be amazing for you to feel connected to a community, and it's gonna help Sarah so much, so do it, friends
I
of
love it.
Sarah.
I love it.
Oh, wow. Sarah, do you have any kind of spiritual practice, or are you interested in that kind of thing at all?
The closest thing I think is, like, going out in nature and hiking. I'm
Mm,
not necessarily religious. My family were, like, holiday Catholics, and I like a lot of the lessons that organized religion teach, like, about morality. I like religion as being a guide as far as how people should interact with each other to create a kind and structured society. Sometimes I think people need guidelines on how to interact with each other in kind ways. So I like religion generally as helping to create a framework for morality. But I am not
mm.
tied to a certain religion. myself, but I am spiritual. Um, Not in like a super organized sense. I think just kind of communing with nature is the closest. When I get out in nature, I love being out in nature. And when I go
Me too.
hiking, I sort of lose myself in it. For me,
Oh,
it's like active meditation in a way. It's one of the ways I can quiet my mind and just sort of really be present in the moment. So I think
that's
that's the closest
beautiful.
thing.
I also I experience so much magic in nature. I mean, just in cleansing, but then also these strange synchronicities sometimes happen while I'm walking along the path or see signs or clear my mind. I'm right now I'm living in Croatia and I'm right next to this beautiful park. It's just a
So
like a shower
amazing.
loop. It's so nice. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
send you a picture.
wow. How
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
How
So
long have
Sarah,
you lived there?
I've been there. I go here on and off. So I actually lived in the Bay Area for 2 years, and I'm going to be back in May. One of
Okay.
the kids I love is doing a concert, so I'm gonna go see him. But yeah, and I'll do some babysitting for you while
We
you're
should
there.
meet up and like let's have lunch or something with Teo or something when
Oh
you're in
my gosh,
town.
yeah. But I was asking about the spiritual thing because I'm just wondering if you drew upon any practices when you were going through that process of letting go, or when you were thinking about who you wanted to bring in as a romantic relationship. Like, because I think that like, I've been thinking a lot about manifesting a life partner and writing down what kind of traits, and I'm just wondering if you did any of that, at all while you were when you decided to decouple these things.
Something similar. For one thing, I made a conscious decision to try to be more present
Mm,
and to fully feel. That helped me grieve instead of just sort of I guess bandaging or masking or trying to deflect my feelings, to really just sit with the pain and experience it.
mm.
And that was a big shift in helping me release it.
And you
Because
just
at
did that
first,
alone?
um, I would, I think I did go, yeah, I did a little counseling during the time to help talk through my feelings.
Mm, that's
Um,
nice.
and then
That's
I was doing
helpful.
meditation too. The meditation helped me just
Mm,
find peace and deal with
medita
the big emotions. And then I'd always, from a young age, kind of liked just writing down my goals, you know, and I went back to that. I started writing down what I wanted in life, and
mm,
really so I could just, it's similar manifesting, you're having that intent be front and center in your mind as you go through life.
mm.
And I
I
think
like
it just
that.
helps guide your decision making.
I like that. I find it a lot easier to free write than to try to write some description of my ideal partner. That makes me feel really uncomfortable. It's like I get this really horrible FOMO and it feels like I'm forcing it, but if I'm just free writing, it feels a lot nicer.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah. So Sarah, okay, that's really beautiful. Wow, you've given me so much today. I think it's funny because people always say something which I really dislike, which is like, when you stop wanting him, he'll come, or something like that.
Oh,
Or like you need to let go, all this stuff about letting go. But I think I've understood letting go in a different way today than I did before. I can't really even put it into words, but somehow you helped me understand what that really means.
I feel honored.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm so happy. I really feel close to you, and it's really like so wonderful. I feel like wow, how great that I started this show to be able to connect with someone like
It's
you.
it's funny when I saw your Main Street Moms post, which led me to reach out to you. I felt there was something faithful about it, and I felt really driven to respond to you. I
Mhm.
felt like there was a reason behind it, to be honest.
I really appreciate it because it was so embarrassing posting that to all these groups, and I just didn't even know I have to talk to someone, I have to talk to someone who's experienced it because I just had this sense that that's the one thing I haven't done is talk to women in their 40s who had my experience and then found resolution around this. And because I'm in education, I know how powerful modeling is. So I just felt like if I can surround myself with people like this, I'll start to embody some of that energy.
I hope you got a lot of responses because I'm actually interested in hearing the other stories as well.
Honestly, I did not.
Oh,
Um, I will show you Barbara's episode. I've actually so now I think I've had 4. So
oh,
you
okay.
responded, another woman responded, and I haven't I need to follow up with her again because it kind of dropped off. But yeah, I think it's something really intimate for people. So it's really beautiful to be able to share that gift. Yeah, so my other cousin Barbara, and then also another one, Barbara in Madrid,
Oh,
and
nice.
all of them have children. And yeah, it's really, I'll share the episode with you for sure.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, wow. Oh my gosh, Sarah, this has been so, so lovely. I can't wait to hold Theo. I hope I didn't traumatize him too much. He's a Buddha. He's a little healer.
He's
I,
something.
I felt like I didn't feel like he was upset. I felt like he was reflecting. Like it was
I
some
think
kind
he
of
was.
yeah. So sweet. He's a sweetheart.
Thank
Is
you.
is it yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I just really appreciate you doing this. I hope that, I don't know, that it helps people somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel cleansed. I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like and kind of putting words to how I feel right now cheapens it. So I just want to say, like, so much love to you. I'm sending you all of the good healing and light, and I hope that you really get some support around raising your child and the relationship continues to blossom and you continue to thrive. I think you're a really amazing woman, and I'm just so grateful.
Thank you. You are really amazing. I'm glad we experienced this together, and I hope we do meet in real life.
We will.
Excellent.
So I'll see you soon then.
Okay. Bye.